Princess Liara of Zithara stood in the grand hall of her palace, the golden lights of the throne room reflecting on her silver hair. She had ruled beside her people with care and fairness for many years. Yet tonight, something felt wrong. Whispers had followed her through the marble corridors, and the advisors she trusted had avoided her eyes. Liara's heart ached as she walked toward the royal balcony. The city below sparkled with lights, alien towers stretching into the sky. She had always loved Zithara, its vibrant culture, its brilliant minds, and its forests that shimmered under twin moons. But tonight, even the beauty of her planet could not calm the storm in her heart. "Your Highness," a voice called softly. Liara turned to see her chief advisor, Lord Varen. His usual confident stance seemed strained. I must speak with you in private?" Liara nodded and followed him through hidden corridors that few knew existed. They stopped in a small, dim chamber behind the throne room. Varen's eyes flickered nervously. "Princess, there are complications," he began, carefully choosing his words. "The council has certain plans for your future." Liara felt her stomach twist. She had suspected scheming for years, but she never thought it would come from those she trusted most. "Explain," she demanded, her voice steady despite the fear growing inside her. "The council believes it is best for Zithara if you are married to Lord Kareth of the Vishari," Varen said. "He controls a large part of the northern colonies, the Union. It would strengthen our position." Liara's heart sank. She had met Kareth only once. He was cruel, ambitious, and willing to lie to gain power. She could never accept him as a partner. "This is not what I want," she said, her voice firm. "I serve my people, not the council's ambitions." Varen hesitated. "Princess, I cannot stop them. The council has already decided. They say it is for the good of Zithara." Liara's hands clenched. She had trusted them to guide her, to protect her people, not to betray her. Her mind raced. If she stayed, she would be forced into a marriage she despised. If she left, she risked being hunted, labeled a traitor, or worse. That night, Liara made a choice. She could not stay in a place where lies ruled. She would escape. Quietly, she gathered her essentials: a small communicator, maps of the forests surrounding the city, and a pendant her mother had given her. It was her only comfort, a symbol of her family and the honesty she believed in. Under the cover of the twin moons, she slipped past the palace guards. Her heart pounded with every step. She moved through hidden tunnels and secret passages, avoiding cameras and patrols. Every corner of the palace she had walked for years now seemed unfamiliar, dangerous. Finally, she reached the outer gates. The night air was cool and refreshing against her skin, a sharp contrast to the suffocating atmosphere of the palace. She looked back once, her eyes lingering on the spires of her home. Pain and longing mixed in her chest. She loved Zithara, but she could not stay while betrayal ruled. Liara ran into the forests beyond the city. The trees were tall and luminescent, glowing softly in the moonlight. She had spent many childhood days exploring these woods, learning their secrets. Now, they were her refuge. She moved swiftly, careful to avoid patrols. The forest whispered, to her the wind brushing against her face as if guiding her path. Days passed. Liara survived on what the forest offered: fruits, water from streams, and the skills she had learned as a child. She avoided contact with Zitharan citizens, knowing that anyone might report her whereabouts. Her isolation was lonely, but her mind stayed sharp. She read maps, thought about her options, and observed the stars above. One evening, as she rested near a small lake, Liara noticed lights in the distance. Unlike Zithara's city glow, these lights moved slowly across the horizon. She studied them carefully. They were not from her planet's ships or patrols. Curiosity sparked within her. The lights grew closer, revealing themselves to be a convoy of ships. They were human, she could tell by their design. Humans were known on Zythera as explorers, diplomats, and traders. Liara had always admired their sense of honor. Unlike her own council, humans were known to respect truth, fairness, and bravery. Her heart leapt. Could they help her? Could she trust them? The risks were great, but she had few choices. She needed allies who valued honesty and courage, not deception and ambition. As the convoy landed near the forest, Liara approached cautiously. She hid behind the trees, watching the humans unload supplies. Their movements were organized, calm, and respectful. There was no sign of greed or malice, only cooperation. Suddenly, a man noticed her. He stepped forward, eyes scanning the forest. Liara froze, unsure if she should reveal herself. Then he spoke, his voice calm but commanding. "I know someone is there. You are safe. Come forward." Liara stepped into the clearing, her chest tight with nervousness. The man approached slowly, hands raised to show he meant no harm. "I am Commander Ethan Hale," he said. "We do not harm those who seek peace. Who are you?" Liara hesitated. Could she trust him? His eyes were steady, honest. She could see no trace of deception. Taking a deep breath, she spoke. "I am Liara. I am in danger. My own people. They have betrayed me." Ethan nodded, listening carefully. "Then you are safe with us," he said. "We value honor, fairness, and courage. If you choose to come with us, we will protect you." Liara felt a spark of hope. For the first time since leaving the palace, she felt that maybe, just maybe, there was a place in the galaxy where honesty and bravery mattered more than lies and power. That night, as she boarded the human ship, Liara looked back at Zythera one last time. She didn't know what the future held, but she knew she had made the right choice. For the first time, she felt hope. And in the heart of humanity, she sensed a kind of honor she had never truly experienced before. Liara's journey had begun, not just to escape betrayal, but to discover a new way of life, where truth, respect, and courage could shine brighter than any palace or throne. The stars stretched endlessly above her, and for the first time they felt like a path forward, full of promise. The human ship hummed softly as it glided above the forests of Zythera. Princess Liara stood near the observation window, watching. The glowing trees shrink below. She had never seen a vessel like this, sleek, metallic, yet simple in design. Humans had a way of blending technology and practicality that felt honest. There were no gilded towers or hidden traps here, only purpose. Commander Ethan Hale walked beside her, his boots making soft clicks against the metal floor. "You'll find that humans value fairness," he said. "We believe in helping others, in speaking the truth even when it is difficult. I can tell you've never experienced that before." Liara nodded slowly. She did not want to admit how desperately she had longed for this. In her palace, the people who should have guided her had lied, schemed, and manipulated. Here, at least, there was a sense of justice, but still she could not fully trust them yet. "Why would humans care about me?" she asked quietly. "I am a stranger, an alien. Why help me?" Ethan studied her with kind eyes. "Because courage and honor are universal," he said. "We respect those who act with wisdom and integrity no matter where they come from. You showed bravery by leaving your palace. That tells us more about you than any title or name." Liara felt a small flicker of pride. Humans. They noticed deeds, not status. It was so different from Zythera, where appearances often mattered more than actions. She decided she would try to learn more about them, to see if their ways were real or just words. Over the next days, Liara moved among the crew. She observed them as they prepared for their next mission, a trading expedition to a nearby system. Humans worked together, each person respecting the skills of others. Engineers consulted pilots. Scientists debated with navigators. Every disagreement ended not with insults or threats, but with compromise and reason. Liara had never seen leadership like this. On Zithera, councils often spoke over one another, power battles disguised as debates. Here, humans listened. They learned. They valued ideas, not authority alone. One afternoon, Ethan approached her with a device in his hand. "We've encountered a small issue," he said. "There's a minor anomaly in the navigation system. We could fix it, but I'd like you to help. You have knowledge of Zithera's energy grids, and it might give us insight." Liara hesitated. Could she help these humans without revealing too much about herself? But then she realized, if she could prove her worth through action, she might earn their trust fully. She nodded. "Show me." Together they worked on the problem. Liara studied the device carefully. She noticed patterns in the energy flow, small inconsistencies that the humans had overlooked. "Try rerouting power from this node," she suggested. "It should stabilize the system." Ethan followed her instructions. A soft hum filled the room as the anomaly corrected itself. Lights blinked green on the console. Ethan smiled. "You've saved us from a serious problem," he said. "Your insight, it's impressive. Humans respect knowledge, and you have plenty." Liara felt a warmth in her chest. For the first time in weeks, she felt useful in a world outside her palace. Here, she could act according to her skills and intelligence, not according to what others forced her to do. That evening, the crew gathered for a meal. Humans ate simply but with care. They spoke to one another, sharing stories and jokes. Liara listened, amused by their humor, impressed by their camaraderie. In their laughter, the days passed quickly aboard the human ship, and Princess Liara began to see the strength of humanity in ways she had never imagined. She walked the corridors observing humans at work, not just their physical skill, but their way of thinking, deciding, and cooperating. There was a rhythm to their efforts, a balance she found fascinating. Liara had always been intelligent, trained from a young age in politics, strategy, and diplomacy. But humans had something different. They were flexible, creative, and yet deeply moral. They spoke honestly, even when it was difficult, and they worked together instead of competing for personal gain. It was a kind of wisdom she had never truly seen on Zithera. One afternoon, Ethan approached her with a calm expression. "Liara, there's something I'd like to show you," he said. "Not all lessons happen in a classroom or in politics. Some happen in experience." Curious, Liara followed him to a training deck. Here, humans practiced problem-solving under simulated crisis situations. Fires, system failures, and even unexpected attacks were staged, and crews had to respond quickly and decisively. "Watch," Ethan said. He gestured to a small simulation. Alarms blared, red lights flashing as a module threatened to collapse. Crew members rushed forward, each taking a specific role. Engineers repaired the structure, navigators calculated escape paths, and medics prepared for injuries. But most importantly, each person spoke clearly, listened carefully, and respected each other's suggestions. Liara studied their actions. She noticed how humans combined intelligence with instinct. Unlike her advisors on Zithera, they did not argue endlessly or hide information. They shared knowledge freely and adapted quickly. When one mistake happened, no one panicked or blamed others unfairly. They fixed the problem as a team. Ethan noticed her intense observation. "Your people value tradition and protocol," he said. "That has its strengths. But humans, we value collaboration and adaptability. We make decisions based on both logic and morality. That is why we survive and often thrive where others fail." Liara nodded, absorbing every word. She wanted to learn, not just survive. She asked, "Can I participate?" Ethan smiled. Of course. But follow my instructions and trust your instincts. Humans act together, but we also respect courage and initiative." Liara stepped into the simulation. Alarms blared in her ears, red lights flashing across the walls. She felt a rush of adrenaline, but she focused on what she knew. Drawing on her training in Zithera's engineering systems, she identified weaknesses in the module and directed the crew to reinforce the structure. She issued clear instructions and helped coordinate repairs. The simulation ended, and the alarms fell silent. The crew cheered quietly, impressed by her decisiveness. Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. "You did exceptionally well. You combined your knowledge with action. Humans notice that. Skill, courage, and integrity. You've proven yourself." Liara smiled faintly, pride swelling in her chest. For the first time, she felt not just accepted, but respected for her abilities. Humans valued what she did, not who she was by birth. That was a new and powerful feeling. The next day, Liara observed humans in a different way, through daily life aboard the ship. She saw engineers taking breaks together, laughing at jokes. Medics offered gentle advice to young crew members learning new procedures. Even the commanders spent time listening to their team, asking questions instead of giving orders. Liara realized that humans had a sense of honor she had never experienced fully before. They cared for one another, not because of rules or fear, but because it was right. They acted for the good of the group, not personal gain. She felt drawn to this, a kind of morality that made her hopeful for the future. Later, she accompanied Ethan on a diplomatic mission to a nearby colony. They negotiated with local leaders over resource sharing. Liara watched as Ethan listened carefully, respected their opinions, and offered fair solutions. No lies, no manipulation, only honest conversation. When Liara spoke, she added insights from Zythera's technology that humans had not known. The colony leaders were impressed. They had never seen an alien princess act with such clarity and wisdom, and they respected her ideas because they were fair and logical. Ethan leaned closer to her. "See? Humanity values truth, wisdom, and courage. That is why you are welcomed here. Your people may have betrayed you, but humans see potential, not titles. You are judged by what you do, not what others say." Liara's chest warmed. She began to understand a fundamental difference between humans and her own people. Humans were not perfect. They had flaws, like all beings, but they valued honesty and honor above manipulation and deceit. That was why they thrived where others failed. One evening, Liara stood at the observation deck watching stars streak by as the ship glided through space. Ethan joined her, silent for a few moments, letting her thoughts settle. "Princess," he said finally, "I know you have been hurt, betrayed by those you trusted, forced to flee your home, but you have courage, intelligence, and honor. Humans respect that. And I promise, as long as you are with us, you will be safe. You will be valued for who you are, not for what others demand of you." Liara's eyes glistened. I never thought I would feel like this," she admitted. "A part of me has always been afraid, alone in a world full of lies, but here I feel hope. I feel I can belong." Ethan smiled softly. "Then trust it. Trust yourself. Trust us. Humanity is not perfect, but we believe in fairness, courage, and honor. Those are the things that matter, and you embody them. Together we can face whatever comes next." Liara looked at him, then at the stars. She thought of her palace, the betrayal she had suffered, and the lonely nights in the forest. Those memories were still painful, but now they felt distant, like shadows compared to the light she had found here. For the first time in her life, Liara believed in more than survival. She believed in learning, growing, and forming bonds with those who valued truth and honor. She realized that the galaxy was not just a place of politics and betrayal, it was also a place of hope, courage, and humanity. As she watched the stars, Liara made a silent promise to herself. She would not only survive, she would thrive. She would learn from humans, embrace their values, and one day, show that even a betrayed princess could rise above lies and darkness. Liara's journey with humanity had only just begun. She had learned that courage, wisdom, and honesty were stronger than fear, betrayal, or deception. And in that lesson, she found something she had never known before: hope. The ship glided silently above Zithera, its metallic surface reflecting the twin moons. Princess Liara stood at the observation deck, her mind heavy with unease. Though she had found trust and hope among humans, a part of her still worried about her home. She had left her palace, but the world she had fled from did not rest. Commander Ethan Hale approached her. His expression was serious, but his eyes carried calm reassurance. "Liara, we have received word from the outer colonies," he said. "The council at your palace has declared you dead." Liara's chest tightened. "Dead," she whispered. The betrayal had gone further than she imagined. Her own people had spread lies, claiming her gone to consolidate power. The palace she had once called home was now under the control of those who had tried to betray her. Ethan placed a hand on her shoulder. "They underestimated you. That is their mistake. But it means we need to act carefully. The people of Zithera still need you, and you still have allies, though few may realize it yet." Liara's mind raced. She had escaped the palace to survive, but she had never imagined she would return as herself, alive, aware, and determined. Yet how could she face the council alone? And more importantly, what role could humanity play in this? Ethan looked at her thoughtfully. "There is a solution," he said. "It is unusual, but it honors your position, your safety, and the principles you believe in. Humanity offers a partnership, an alliance. You would join us, symbolically, as part of a marriage alliance, recognized by our interstellar council. This does not force your personal life, but it provides protection and honor." Liara stared at him, unsure she had heard correctly. "A marriage?" she asked. "But I do not even know these humans in that way, and I am a princess of Zithera. How could that be appropriate?" Ethan smiled gently. "It is not a personal demand," he explained. "It is symbolic, a recognition of trust, respect, and alliance. Your rights, your freedom, and your dignity remain entirely yours. It is a bond that signals to your people and your enemies that you are protected, honored, and respected by humanity itself." Liara considered his words. The proposal was strange, yes, but it carried something she had not felt in years: assurance. For the first time, she imagined her future not as a victim but as a leader, supported by allies who valued truth, courage, and fairness. "Show me how this works," she said finally, her voice steady. "I need to understand it fully before I agree." Ethan led her to the command room. On the holographic display, the Interstellar Council of Humanity appeared. Humans from many planets, diverse in appearance and culture, acknowledged her presence with respect. "This council governs human alliances across the stars," Ethan explained. "Your alliance would give you recognition, support, and protection. It is a gesture of honor, nothing more, nothing less." Liara studied the display carefully. She realized the power of the gesture. It was not political. It symbolized values humans believed in, Fae. The human ship glided quietly toward Zithera, its engines humming softly in the vacuum of space. Princess Liara stood at the observation deck, her silver hair catching the faint glow of the twin moons. After weeks aboard the human ship, she felt strong and confident. No longer a fugitive, she was a princess armed with knowledge, courage, and allies who respected her. Commander Ethan Hale approached, his steps measured and calm. "Liara," he said, "the council will not expect us. They believe you are gone. This gives us an advantage. You will confront them not as a victim, but as a leader." Liara nodded. Her heart thumped in her chest, but it was not fear, it was determination. She had escaped betrayal once. She would not be deceived again. Humanity had shown her that courage and honor could prevail, even against the most cunning adversaries. The ship descended toward the capital city. Zithera's towers gleamed beneath the twin moons, and for a moment, Liara felt a pang of nostalgia. She loved this world, despite the betrayal she had suffered. But this time, She would return not as a pawn, but as a ruler of her own destiny. When the ship landed in the palace's central plaza, a small crowd had gathered. Citizens had heard rumors of the princess's survival, but few believed it. The human crew moved with quiet precision, their presence both protective and reassuring. Liara stepped forward, her posture tall, her eyes steady. The council awaited, her in the throne room, unaware of the human presence. Lord Varen and Lord Careth looked surprised when Liara entered, her head held high. Their whispers of triumph and power faded as they recognized the truth. The princess was alive. "You are alive," Lord Varen stammered, his voice faltering. We thought—" Liara raised a hand, stopping him. "You thought you could deceive my people and seize control," she said, her voice firm. "But lies do not last. Truth always finds a way." Lord Careth stepped forward, his usual arrogance faltering. "You have no power now. The council had power, only because you believed deception was stronger than honor," Liara interrupted. "But humans have shown me another way, a way where courage, intelligence, and integrity matter more than manipulation. And today, the people of Zithra will see that truth is stronger than your lies." Ethan Hale stepped forward, standing beside Liara. "We are here as witnesses," he said. "This princess is protected by a human alliance. Any attempt to harm her will not only fail, it will reveal your dishonesty to the entire galaxy. Justice and honor are universal. She embodies those values, and we support her fully." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. For the first time, they faced not just a single princess, but a symbol of integrity backed by a civilization that valued fairness and courage. The threat was not violence. It was honor, accountability, and truth. Liara walked through the throne room, addressing the gathered advisors and citizens. "I have returned not to punish," she said. "I have returned to restore what is right. My people deserve leadership guided by wisdom, not lies. I will rule with fairness, and those who betrayed this trust will face the consequences of their actions, not by vengeance, but by law and truth." Citizens murmured in surprise and approval. Many had felt powerless as the council twisted their princess's image to suit their schemes. Now they saw her alive, strong, and supported by allies who respected integrity above all. Lord Varen lowered his gaze, realizing his manipulations had failed. "Princess Liara, you will answer for your actions," Liara said firmly. "Not in anger, but in fairness. Deception may have given you temporary power, but it cannot stand against courage and honor." The citizens, emboldened by Liara's presence and the human support, began to speak up. "We stand with the princess," a voice called. Others joined in, their chants growing louder. The conspirators realized that they had lost not just power but public trust. Liara turned to Ethan. "Thank you," she said quietly. "Without your guidance and the human support, I could not have done this. You have shown me the true strength of integrity and honor." Ethan smiled. "You had it in you all along," he said. "Humans value those qualities, but you embodied them naturally. We only helped reveal them to the world." Liara walked to the central throne, placing her hands on the armrests. The room was silent except for the voices of her people, now united behind her. "This throne is not just a symbol of authority," she said. "It is a symbol of responsibility. I will lead my people with wisdom, fairness, and courage, and I will never forget that honor and truth are the greatest powers any ruler can wield." Lord Careth, defeated and exposed, was escorted from the room. Lord Varen knelt, a gesture of submission and acknowledgement of wrongdoing. Liara nodded once, showing mercy, but making it clear that betrayal would never be tolerated again. Over the next days, Liara worked with both her people and the Kaonaim, humans. She implemented reforms inspired by the values she had learned: fairness in governance, respect for all citizens, and openness in decision-making. Zithra began to change, slowly but surely, as trust replaced fear, and honesty replaced deception. Liara also established an ongoing alliance with humanity. They would share knowledge, culture, and technology, but most importantly, they would continue to serve as a model of integrity and fairness. Humans had shown her that civilization could thrive on values rather than manipulation, and she intended to bring those lessons to her people. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the palace, Liara stood on the balcony, looking at her city. She thought of the nights she had spent hiding in the forest, the fear and despair she had endured, and the hope that humans had shown her. She smiled, feeling a peace she had never known in her own palace. The journey had been long and difficult, but it had taught her something more valuable than power or wealth. Courage, wisdom, and integrity were stronger than betrayal. With humans by her side, she had reclaimed her honor and her place among her people. Liara looked to the stars, thinking of the future. Humanity had shown her that hope and honor were universal values, not bound by species or planet. She would continue to lead her people with those lessons in mind, guiding them toward a future filled with fairness, trust, and courage. For the first time, Princess Liara felt truly free. She had faced betrayal, fled from danger, and returned stronger than ever. The humans had offered more than protection. They had shown her the path to a new kind of leadership, one built on integrity, wisdom, and hope. And Zithara, once a place of lies and fear, was beginning to shine with the promise of a better tomorrow. The sun rose over Zithara, painting the city in gold and violet hues. Princess Liara stood on the palace balcony, looking over the bustling streets below. Her people moved with energy and purpose, no longer afraid of lies and deception. The reforms she had begun were taking root, and the city felt alive with hope. Commander. Ethan Hale and the human crew had remained at her side, offering advice and guidance as allies, not rulers. Liara had learned from them, not only in matters of leadership, but in the meaning of honor, fairness, and courage. Humanity had shown her that strength was not measured by power alone, but by integrity and respect. A meeting was held in the Central Council Hall. Liara addressed Zitharan leaders, human diplomats, and citizens alike. "We stand at the beginning of a new era," she said, her voice calm and confident. "Our future will be built not on lies, fear, or power alone, but on trust, fairness, and cooperation. Today we unite not only as Zitharans but also with humanity, whose values have inspired us to be better leaders, neighbors, and friends." The hall erupted in applause. Humans and Zitharans alike felt the promise of a shared future. Liara smiled, seeing in their eyes the reflection of hope she carried in her heart. Over the next weeks, Liara and the humans worked together to establish formal agreements, trade routes, cultural exchanges, and technological partnerships. Human advisors helped Zitharan engineers develop safer energy grids, medical technologies, and sustainable agriculture systems. Zitharans offered their knowledge of planetary ecosystems, rare minerals, and advanced sciences. Through these collaborations, Liara witnessed the true power of cooperation. She saw that humanity's greatest strength was not their technology or military might, but their ability to value others, to respect courage and wisdom wherever it came from. Zithara began to change, not just in infrastructure but in culture. People began to speak openly, trust one another, and act with integrity. Liara often walked among her citizens, observing the changes. Children laughed and played freely in the streets. Adults discussed matters openly without fear of deception, and elders offered guidance that was respected rather than feared. Every interaction reminded her of the lessons humans had taught her, that honesty, courage, and respect could transform a society more effectively than any weapon or throne. One evening, as Liara stood on the balcony with Ethan, she spoke quietly. "I never imagined humans could be so inspiring. They value truth not because it benefits them, but because it is right." Ethan smiled. "That is the essence of humanity," he said. "We are not perfect, but we believe in fairness, in courage, and in helping others rise. You embody those values as much as we do. That is why we honor you, Liara. not as a princess, but as someone who leads with integrity. Liara looked at the stars, thinking of her journey. She remembered the betrayal in her palace, the nights she had spent hiding. In the forest, the fear and